Well, hey, friends, and welcome back to Journals for Breakfast. My name is Andrea. You are so welcome here, and we are now officially starting videos about the 2026 journal lineup for myself. I hope you get some inspiration from my journaling plans, and I would love it if you'll share with me your journaling plans. I get so much inspiration from you guys too. There are so many kinds of journaling. We talk about this here like crazy. The thing that I hear out in the world as a journaler, sometimes people will see me journaling at a coffee shop or something, but I teach journaling workshops. And so when those landed on my calendar at my studio, the feedback I would get from people who were not interested in journaling, and the thing that people will say to me sometimes when they see me out in the wild just journaling is, oh, I tried journaling and it wasn't for me. And I always kind of have to internally laugh at that a little bit because my guess is they tried a type of journaling and that specific style didn't work for them. I think that's legit. But there are so many types of journals and so many journaling practices. What I kind of jokingly say, but it's sort of true too, I talk to my students about this, is telling me that you tried journaling once and didn't love it is the equivalent to me of you telling me that, like, let's say we go out to dinner and I say, hey, do you want to split some dessert? And you go, oh gosh, no, I ordered dessert once when I was a kid. It was awful. Wait, what? What are you talking about? Do you know how many kinds of dessert there are? Did you order a key lime tart and it turns out that you hate citrus? That dessert was not for you. Did you know that there's chocolate desserts? Did you know that there are desserts that aren't tarts? So yeah, like I don't journal because I tried it once. I don't buy that. I mean, I do, I get that, but there's so many kinds. And this year in 2026, I think I have 5 in my lineup that are all really different. The one we're going to talk about today is happiness tracking. I've talked about happiness tracking with you guys here before. I was sort of in my own discovery of what that was. Now that it's become such a part of my journaling routine, I feel like I can actually really share with you a little bit deeper dive about why it has been so powerful to me, because now even I understand better the psychology behind it and why it's working so well. When I started happiness tracking, I really was just kind of faking it till I made it. I didn't know how it was going to work for me, but I had read an article that said that it would. So I trusted that and tried it and just did it, right? And just didn't worry about um, why it was working. But now, a year and a half into happiness tracking, I understand so much better about why it's working. And I really love it. I took a break from it for about 3 months this fall. And then I threw it back into my my Christmas journal, did a Christmas happiness tracker I showed you guys last week. And I just love it so much. It's 100% on board for 2026. So, happiness tracking, I'm going to show you mine real quick. And I'm going to read to you a few little highlights from the Psychology Today article that I found that got me to try happiness tracking. And then I'm going to go into some overhead of my putting together some collages in my Christmas journal while I read to you some excerpts from Simple Abundance, which I'll show you in a moment, and her concepts about happiness tracking as well. So fun stuff happening. I'm really happy that you're here. Okay, let's talk about happiness tracking. The first thing I want to say about happiness tracking is that I already had a gratitude practice going, and I had done various versions of that where maybe I wrote down 3 things I was grateful for at the end of every day, or I wrote down one thing every day, or I put something I was grateful for on a piece of paper and put it in a box. And then on days when you're having a rough day, you open up that box and pull out all the things you've been grateful for recently. It's a cool practice and I like it. What I'll say about gratitude practice for me is that it was also starting to get a little tricky because I'm grateful for a lot. I'm grateful for how comfortable this chair is. I'm grateful for the air conditioning. I'm grateful for windows that don't break in hurricanes. Like, where do I get specific about the real gratitude of things? And yeah, it was feeling a little redundant for me. I was kind of running out of material, except to say that I'm grateful for everything. But how do you, yeah, I was struggling with that a little bit. I looked up a simple Google search, which was, how can I be happy every day? The first thing that came up was the Psychology Today article about happiness tracking. And it gave you several things to think about tracking. So instead of gratitude, where you sit back at a blank piece of paper and come up with something you're grateful for, happiness tracking is you're going to get into daily habits of these things that bring happiness, and you're going to track how many of them you do in every given day. So a little different style, and it doesn't leave you so much trying to be the creator of the info at the end of each and every day. Does that make sense? It's kind of laid out for you already. Here are some things: How to Be Happy, 27 Habits by Psychology Today. And here are some of their daily habits. So these are things that you're going to write down and track every single day. You're going to try to do these every day of the week, of every day of the month. Daily habits: smile. Did you smile today? Check it off. Exercise, even tiny amounts: a walk after dinner, a beginner yoga, start the day with 5 minutes of stretching. It all counts. So if you did some loose stretches when you first got up out of the bed this morning, touched your toes, check it off. You've exercised. Get plenty of sleep. But limit naps to 20 minutes. So we can do some napping, keep them short, little cat naps, and then get plenty of sleep. Did I sleep well? Did I sleep last night? Did I get 8 hours of sleep? Check it off. Eat with your mood in mind. So this is an interesting one, and you will not be able to do this every single day. You're going to get busy and eat with your needs in mind. You need calories and you got to keep going. So you're driving through and picking something up. But eating with your mood in mind will mean that you've intentionally chosen a breakfast that's low in sugar, high in protein, to give you the energy you need for a really full morning that you've got lined up for you. Something like that. But you can tweak that one out to be very personal to you. Practice gratitude. Simple enough. It's just saying a morning, it's just in the morning, just having a moment of gratitude. You need to be super specific. I'm grateful for air conditioning and new tires on the car, and you know what I mean, filtered water. Instead, just a moment where you just pause and say thanks to whomever it is you say thanks to: God, the universe, spirit, whatever that may be. A moment of acknowledging gratitude without having to necessarily list the things. Okay. This is one of my favorites. Give a compliment. Every single day, find somebody to give a compliment to. So the person in front of you at the grocery store, do you love her bag? Is his hat funny? Something. Give a compliment. It's such a fun one. Breathe deeply. Okay, we breathe in and out all day long. We don't need to be conscious about it, except taking 30 seconds in every 24 hours to intentionally breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth a few times over. Breathe deeply. Like, how simple is this? Do you get how simple these are? They take seconds. Check happiness. Acknowledge the unhappy moments. So this can be, for me, I try to take a pause every day, and that will happen in that. When I take a pause and just close my eyes, I can have my breathe deeply moment, and I can acknowledge that I might be experiencing emotion I don't adore. And then I can give myself some compassion for it, ask myself maybe what it's stemming from, and see if there's some way to redirect it. That whole process doesn't take 30 seconds. Keep a journal. If you're happiness tracking, you're keeping a journal. This is a kind of journal. So you get to check that off every single day. Face stress head on. Do you have a task that's weighing on your chest at 3 a.m? Get her done. Just get her done. That may not happen every single day. That might be something you track weekly, or just mark it off when it does happen. But face it, sort it, and get it out of the way. And then avoid comparison. And I think that that's very personal to each of us, sort of where that comes into play. I think the awareness, the acknowledgement of the unhappy moments will kind of fall into that, being aware of comparison and being careful about it. So avoid comparing yourself to others. Instead, draw your attention inward. So if I find myself comparing, then I come back into me and say, slow down. What's good about me right now in this moment? They gave you some weekly habits in this article to consider tracking as well. And so declutter. That's simple. Just find the dining room table again, right? Everything lands on it, put it all away. A visit with a friend, sit down and plan your week. So, planners are part of my 2026 journaling lineup. I share with you here anything analog to me, pen to paper, stickers to paper, markers to paper. We're in the land of journaling, and analog planners are absolutely a kind of journal, aren't they? How can they not be? They're a complete catalog of your day to day in your life. That's a journal. So, plan your week, sit down. And just give yourself some quiet time to just piece out what's coming ahead of you. Ditch the phone. Oh, you know, I love that one. Go for a walk without your phone. Gosh, man, let me tell you, I get a lot of pushback on that. Women will say to me, oh, that's dangerous. Wait, what? I mean, maybe it is where you are. You need to make your choices about you. I live in a subdivision. I assure you, if I trip and fall, someone's going to watch it happen. There are literally cars everywhere. I won't be, flopping around in the street hurt for very long before someone comes along and helps me. If the point of keeping your phone with you is safety, I wouldn't be able to call somebody faster than a neighbor would watch me go over and come running over to assist me. So, um, ditch that phone. But if not, maybe, how about just don't take it to bed at night and just get into a book and leave the phone on the charger in the living room. Find ways to do it. Get into nature. I walk every day, and I've shared with you it's easy to walk and not be in nature simultaneously, right? Because we are so distracted. We're walking, but we're simultaneously running through the grocery list and trying not to forget to call the mechanic to see if the car is ready, right? Take a moment. Look at the nature around you. Can you spot a bird on a branch? Can you identify him? Is he a woodpecker? What kind of woodpecker? Get into nature. And this is a blip in the day, and I can make it happen basically every day. It's about my mental place being in nature. Yes, physically, I'm outside of the house, but can I mentally get in there for a moment? Explore meditation. Consider therapy. I don't go to therapy every week, I go every other week, but in the world of a weekly habit, that's a good one. um, and find self-care rituals and put them into your planner, whatever those may be for you. Bubble bath, a good coffee, a great tea, no phone time at night in bed, whatever that ritual may be. And then they gave you some monthly habits, monthly things you can do. Give back. You can decide for yourself, whatever that may be. Just be of service in some way, right? Take yourself out. So I did that yesterday. I met a girlfriend for coffee, but also we met was at the cafe at a bookshop. So that once we were done with coffee, I spent a little time with myself just enjoying the bookshop. So that was a little date with myself too. Take yourself out. Create a thought list, meaning take control of your thoughts. This is a good monthly practice. How kind of a review. How did I feel this month? Was I stressed out? What stressed me out? What were the things that hit the pit of my stomach? And just get some awareness about those thoughts. Were you up at 3 a.m.? Why? What was the thing? Can you write it down and get a little control over it? And maybe if it pops back in at 3 a.m. this month, you can redirect that a little bit. And let's see, yearly habits. Then they had a few yearly. Take time to reflect. That's us here right now. In this moment in time, in December, as we move towards January, rather than January 1 being the let's start all these journals date, how about January 1 being the let's reflect on 2025 date and spend the month of January just reflecting on how this year looked to you? Get your journals started up a little bit later. But some things to think about when you reflect. One, how are you doing right now? How do you feel in this moment? And what have you been up to that has made you happy? Where were you a year ago? Emotionally, physiologically? What does that look like last year to date to this year to date? For me, it's pretty dramatic. Um, Reevaluate your goals, whatever those may be. Are there some you can let go of? Are there some you've just been sort of shaming yourself for not doing and need to just let go of? Are there some that it's time to just jump on that high horse and roll? Let's get it done. Take care of your body, whatever that means for you. But for a yearly, one of the things Psychology Today suggested is set up your doctor's appointments. Get those checkups scheduled, get that mammogram scheduled, get that dental work scheduled. So take care of your body in that very literal way as well. And let's see, let go of grudges. This is a great time of year to write that letter and set it on fire. You know that practice? Dear you, gosh, did you get under my skin this year? And I forgive you, and I'm letting it go on fire in the fireplace, and away it goes, whatever those grudges may be. Time to say goodbye, and maybe time to plan a trip annually. Sit down and sort of fantasize about where you might like to go and start getting the wheels in motion, even if it's just in thought. So those were some from Psychology Today. If you Google Psychology Today happiness tracker, you will find this article. It'll pop right up, and it was a really interesting read. So I jumped into it, and I think my very first month was March of 24. Did I even put it in there? Looks like it might have been April of 24. And the things that I put down to track daily at that time in my life were kiss your dog, be in nature. And I meant like be attentively in nature. I'm going to move this microphone closer to me because, of course, the yard work's getting done. Create before I consume. This was the beginning of me really logging into what became the name of this channel, which is Journals for Breakfast. Before I touch a phone, before I touch an iPad, before I turn on a television, some sort of creation. It can be track happiness. It can be a little watercolor, a little sketch. It can be a little journaling session. It could be a tarot card reading for myself, something creative that isn't screen related. Hydrate, pause, smile, take a moment of gratitude, knit, read, walk, yoga, prayer, clean eating, journal, coffee break. I put in here some exercise stuff, and I don't always do that anymore. I put in here weights. I think I mentioned yoga. Planner check in, tidy, turn off the phone, and facial, and give a compliment. Always give a compliment. So those were my first ones. And here's what my tracker looks like. I write down all the stuff on one column, and then I fill them in. This is each day of the month. And then I fill them in. Pretty cool. Hold. He's blowing right by the door. Okay. This journal is just a ruled notebook. Let's see. Let me find a blank page for you. See, it's just lines. And then I come in with a ruler and draw a line, and then fill in all the things I want to track. And then I come through this way and create these little boxes against those ruled lines, run the dates up here, and fill them in. And it looks like I took this through, oh, of course I don't have a month on here. Oh, well. Anyway, I took this at least through the fall of this year, like October, maybe September, something like that. And then took a break from it as I worked in my autumn journal. And now I'm going to pick it back up again. And I do some collage work in here, which I love. I always like moving parts in my collage and quotes. So where there's not trackers, there's just collage work. And yeah, I've really enjoyed this. So I'm going to pick this back up. I'm going to actually make my January tracker with you guys with an overhead video. But for the moment, I want to share with you. I read Simple Abundance every day this year. I have a few, obviously it's mid-December, so I still have a few days left to go. And I flagged some things that I'm going to talk to you about while we put together some collage. And she is a big proponent of gratitude and happiness tracking. I didn't even know that when I bought this and decided to start doing this reading. It just came flooding out to me right in the very early days of her daily readings. Simple Abundance is a daily reader. So every day there's a date, like January 5th, you read, January 6th, you read. Yes, I missed days on occasion and I would just catch up, but I never missed more than about 3, FYI. I really stuck with it. And generally speaking, I read it every single day. Those moments where I had to do some catch up didn't happen very often. This is a chunk of a book. And so if you travel constantly for business or something, I can see that this is a daily reader in this format might be kind of tricky, but I am sure you can find it on Kindle or something like that so that you can just keep it with you. I loved it. And I'm a little concerned that it's not a part of my 2026 just because I've already read it. So I think what I'll do for 2026 is just revisit it. I'm going to go back through all my little flags And then throughout the book, just all the time, I'm just always circling stuff and underlining things. So I'm going to go back through maybe weekly, maybe every few days, and just reread the stuff that I highlighted, flagged, or circled to kind of see why that spoke to me in that particular month this time last year. Yeah. So kind of recap it this year instead of a daily reader. So yeah, let's go to some overhead. It's just me putting together some collage work, but it'll give your eyes something to look at other than me. And I'm going to read to you some of her concepts about happiness and gratitude. And then the last thing that we'll do is put together my happiness tracker for 2026 to give you some inspo on how to piece one of those together for yourself. I'm super happy that you're here. I hope your December is going great. Let's talk more about happiness. So we're just going to do some overhead here of me filling out the last few pages of my Hobonichi Cousin Avec. I am switching planners this year, and we will talk about that in a different video as we continue looking at journals and planners for 2026. So I'm just going to keep this footage rolling while we chit chat about Simple Abundance. I'm going to read you a quote from the very early pages of Simple Abundance. She says, I realized I didn't need a single thing except the awareness of how blessed I was. She being Sarah Ban Braddock. I've looked up the way to pronounce her last name. It's different than how it's spelled. She is an amazing writer and journaler, and I hope you'll consider reading her book. But she shares in the very early pages of your reader with her that she practices 6 practical, creative, and spiritual graces, and they are gratitude, simplicity, order, harmony, beauty, and joy. And I wrote those down many times in my collage work this year and in my own journaling. And let's see, I'm going to move to another page here. By the way, we need to talk about word of the year for 2026, and mine is coming from that list. So here's some things she says early in Simple Abundance. This is from January 5th. Today, I want you to become aware that you already possess all the inner wisdom, strength, and creativity needed to make your dreams come true. First, there is gratitude. Gratitude gives way to simplicity. With simplicity, we find order. A sense of order in our life reveals our longing for harmony. Harmony provides us with the inner quietude we need to appreciate the beauty. Seeking beauty opens us to joy. As I started to read through these pages in the early days, and I had already been underway with my happiness tracking, I started to recognize that this is a lot of what she's talking about. What's happening with happiness tracking is we are taking opportunity for awareness. We're really focusing intentionally on the things that bring us happiness every single day. And the truth is that there's lots of them, lots of moments throughout the day. She mentions on January 7th, we're going to turn away from the world this year and begin to listen. Listen to the whispers of your heart. Look within. Your silent companion has lit lanterns of love to illuminate the path to wholeness. At long last, the journey you were born to take has begun. Awareness is so much about looking inward, and we find it in the quiet moments. Awareness is very challenging with a phone in our hand. Awareness is not really what happens when we're scrolling. And we were getting exposed to things when we're scrolling. We're exposed when we walk outside and take a walk with our dog. But are we aware? I feel like the exposure is sort of the outer part of it, and the awareness is the inner connection to it. She says, let's choose today to quench our thirst for the good life that we think others lead by acknowledging that the good that already exists in our own lives is here. We can then offer the universe our gift, which is our grateful heart. Acknowledgement and awareness. These come up again and again in the early days of her January reading, and that is exactly what happiness tracking is about. Is acknowledging how many beautiful, happy moments there are in every day, and it's pausing to be super aware of them. It's difficult to experience moments of happiness if we are not aware, she says. There are countless simple pleasures waiting to be enjoyed every day. So when I look at my happiness tracker, I mean, what are there, 20 things on there? And you think, how do you have time for 20 moments of happiness in every day? Because they're blips, they're little seconds, they're so fast. Some of them happen simultaneously. So pause, be in nature, and breathe. That's one 60-second exercise. 3 of items on my list are checked off when I go down to the marsh with my dog, close my eyes and breathe in through my nose, exhale through my mouth. Breathe in through my nose, exhale through my mouth. Blink my eyes open and just take in the beauty that is there for me. I have just knocked out 3 happiness tracker items. I have paused, I've had a moment in nature, and I've done a breathing exercise. So these don't need to take a lot of time. It's just little pops of awareness. And you know what's interesting? Like anything that we practice and practice and practice, it does become habit. And rather than me having to focus on becoming aware, I subconsciously pull awareness forward over and over all day long. I've gotten so much better at it over the years. It's just kind of amazing. Here's a quote from the book as well. Let us grasp the awareness of what it is that makes us truly happy. Let's consider our personal preferences, provocative though they may be. Oh, I covered this up. And compassionately give ourselves permission to recognize, indulge, and enjoy moments of genuine happiness that are uniquely our own. This is the other thing about happiness tracking. The Psychology Today article I read at the beginning of this, where I gave you the list that they provide, those are generalized things that they know for most people. If they draw awareness to those actions, they'll find some happiness, but you're going to have to find your own personal ones as well. And those will look different for all of us. Yours might include really big social time, a big party, a football game, with 40,000 fans around you. That is the opposite of what would bring me happiness. But solitude might be the thing that brings you down, whereas it's the thing that fills me up. We're all going to have to be very compassionate with ourselves and give ourselves permission to know that a lot of what we track for happiness is super personal. And there is no right or wrong on this. These are the things that bring you joy. She says on January 10th, there is no duty we so much underrate as the duty of being happy. By being happy, we sow anonymous benefits upon the world. And that is a quote by Robert Louis Stevenson. Another quote is, happiness is not a possession to be prized. It is a quality of thought, a state of mind. And that's by Daphne du Maurier, who wrote Rebecca, which is one of my all-time favorite books. One of my most reread books. Another quote is, and this is by the author here, today you may not be familiar with the happiness habit, but like any new behavior, the pursuit of happiness can be learned. So remember I said I decided to start this happiness tracking, not really understanding it, but just assuming that if I just did a fake it till you make it, track it every day and see what happens. Holy cow, you guys, my mood, my positivity, it all just shifted over time. I think it doesn't happen in 5 minutes. It doesn't happen in 5 days. It doesn't happen in 5 weeks. But one day, something's going to happen. Some bad news, some frustrating setback, something. And my response to it suddenly was so much more positive. And I had to give credit to the idea that because at my core, I have really found happiness. And this tracking is a big part of that habit for me. I love this, gratitude, awakening the heart. She says, I truly believe that what you give to the world will be returned to you. Maybe not all at once or in the way you expect it, but if you give your very best, the very best will come back to you. This is the moment to live our beliefs. She says what she hungered for was inner peace. And I understand that too. I think a lot of us do, but how do we get there? I mean, this world is so distracting. How do we find inner peace? And I kind of jokingly have told you guys before, this is the same thing with breaking out of burnout. Is it all or nothing? Do we have to throw our phones into the ocean and pitch our computers and then move to an Alaskan village and live in a yurt? I mean, maybe, but also no. We can find these moments of inner peace throughout every single day, even in our very technical, very involved, very current lives. And I have a good friend that owns his own business, and he has two kids who are under 5, and his burnout was through the roof. And he was asking me a little bit about intentional living. He said, I just don't understand it. Like, I don't understand how I'm supposed to find the time for that. I've shared this concept with you guys here before, but what I shared with him that day is my belief that what we're looking for is to take sips of intention throughout the day. If our goal is to drink a gallon of water every 24 hours, what we're not probably going to do is book an hour where we sit down on the kitchen floor with a jug and guzzle a gallon of water, right? What we're going to do instead is keep a cup of water with us and sip on it all day long, from the minute our feet hit the floor until we go to bed, and we will get ourselves hydrated. This is how I feel about intention. Intentional living comes in sips throughout the day. I don't sit down and meditate for 3 hours, and I certainly didn't sell my business, my life, and everything about me and move to a yurt to find intention. I find it in the little pops. And this little happiness tracker, that's what that is. It's little sips of intention. It's hydrating. It's bringing that awareness and that intention in small doses throughout the day. And it does recalibrate our central nervous system. It lowers our stress, it increases our endorphins, and it does bring happiness. So it's a really fun practice. And she does mention here the gratitude journal could be a first step for the simple abundance path. Basically what she's getting at is some sort of tracking, right? A gratitude journal is a way to do it. This happiness tracking is a way to do it. But if we are trying to get in motion the concept of gratitude and happiness in every day, we will probably have to put pen to paper to get there. We're going to need to track it in some form. And I do like a gratitude practice. I think it matters, but the happiness tracker for me, for some reason, went deeper. It just went deeper. Well, I know why. Gratitude is about recognizing the things that are good, whereas the happiness tracker was about awareness as I was in them in each moment. And I've really just absolutely embraced that concept so greatly. So, yeah, let's take a look at my 2026. I'll put it together for you guys on screen. Okay, so let's take a look at this happiness tracker, which some of you have seen before. The Get Happy Journal. I started in March of 2024, so I'm glad I put that date in there somewhere. These are the notes from the Psychology Today article that I read to you earlier. I just, at the time, wrote those down in the front and then started doing some collage work right away and started with my first tracker. And this journal has been so fun. I love having these big pages for journaling. Journaling and collage. I also like putting collage in here because it gives some stability to these pages in a cool way. Yeah. And what I want to mention to you guys is somebody asked me recently about my positive attitude, and I loved it. I mean, I love that it's recognizable that I tend to carry a positive attitude with me wherever I go. I certainly try to. Um, but I have dark days too. And I think that's an important part of happiness tracking, is just this kind of recognizing how much good there is, but also we'll have to give ourselves compassion for when there's not. So this is an example of a time when there was not. I couldn't even do it. So what was happening at this moment in time is that I started chemo the day before this date here. And chemotherapy and I did not work well. Nobody works well with chemotherapy, but unfortunately for me, not only was I physiologically responding so negatively, I was emotionally responding so negatively that we pulled the plug. It had a really intense psychological impact on me. I don't do well with drugs that alter your mind in any way. Benadryl, for example, it doesn't work for me. And the level of pharmaceuticals that were having to go into me was bringing on almost some sort of psychosis. It was awful. So I had dark days. And there they are. And I'm glad that they're there, for me to remember those dark times. But I pick up an attempt to kind of carry on. I lessened my list of things to be happy about at that time and just got more focused on some journaling and some thoughts to kind of keep me grounded as I healed up. But yeah, so and then kind of got back to it. And what I don't love to track here, and I mentioned that in the opening, is that I was putting in here things like hydrate and workout and stuff like that. Those are fine if they bring you happiness to track them, go for it. For one thing, I work out 3 times a week, like at a gym. So I'm not going to get that in every day anyway. But I try, for me personally, I try not to have this list be too tasky. You know what I mean? I keep that elsewhere. If I want to do a health tracker or goals tracker, like things I'm really trying to accomplish, I won't actually put that in the happiness lineup. The happiness tracker is exactly what it sounds like. Those little things that bring me joy every day. And like watercolor, I just don't have time to watercolor every single day. There's a whole week that I just didn't find a moment. That's fine. Just, it's nice to mark it off when you do. So let's put one together for 2026, or excuse me, for January. I should be specific. It'll be for January of 2026. And this thing's getting pretty fat and out of whack, but I just thought, you know what? I want to keep it through March of 2026. There's some little ADHD, OCD in me that loves the idea that it goes from March to March in a 2-year window, and then I'll pick up a new one. But for now, we're just going to make this one work. Going to hold these pages down over here for a minute while I work over here. And I'm just going to section off a piece for my written items for this. And then I just come through and make little boxes. And I won't do all those with you. You get the gist. Try not to get too caught up in the specific details here. It can be pretty close to even. Obviously, you can buy grid paper and not have to do this part. I just decided to use this lined paper to my best use. As I've told you before, I don't love ruled notebooks, generally speaking, for my own writing. They get in my way. I need my writing to match the width of the lines, and so that can drive me a little bit crazy. And then I come in here and put first, second, third, fourth. You get the idea? And I'll run those all the way across. And then over here, I get to decide what I want to track. And I've gotten pretty good at this because I've been doing this for so long. You know, I have a lot of, like in here was Kiss Echo. That's my puppy. Simple Abundance. I was reading that every single day. So it was part of that. That probably won't be a part of this year's tracker because I'm not going to do it every single day. Walk, Moment in Nature, Prayer, Laugh Out Loud. We'll start with those. Walk. Moment of prayer. Pause. Laugh out loud. My other favorite is give a compliment. Yeah. So I'm going to keep going with that, and we'll take a look at it when it's complete. Arbitrary deadlines, like you don't have to start journaling on January 1. Anytime's fine. Start looking at journals, watching journal videos, taking some journaling content on January 1. If you really want to get with New Year's Eve startups. But there's no rules to this, and there's no deadlines. Start whenever you like. And I pulled a card for us. We'll get through this quickly. This video is getting long, but I'm so excited about this card. This is rando. I did the whole video. Everyone knows up our animal oracle, spirit animal pocket oracle. And people said I need to call it down today. And what came up was porcupine spirit. And look at what it says below. Time for beginner mindset. This is so on track with what I was saying about journaling. I hear out in the wild. I try journaling once. I try to journal once for a life reward here. Keep a beginner mindset. Let it be style. Let it be happen. So here's what it says about porcupine spirit. Time for beginner mind. When porcupine spirit calls your name, you're being asked to adopt a beginner's mind and to approach situations with innocence and curiosity. The old defining stories no longer have a hold on you. Life is full of surprises, irony, and stuff. Looking at the world with fresh, new eyes can help you find whether it's or evidence you have all you need right now to pursue your desire. Porcupine attitude, playful and childlike curiosity. There is so much more to do. So how about that as a starting point for your happiness tracker? Maybe even write that down in your happiness tracker. And I will write that language in the description box below so that you can take it from there if you'd like to. Thank you for joining me for another week of journaling inspiration. I absolutely love having you guys here. If you are interested in this content and want to help this channel grow, you can definitely subscribe, like, leave a comment, but share it with someone who you think might be interested in journaling and just doesn't even know it yet. Maybe they can embrace a little porcupine spirit and try something new with childlike curiosity. I hope you're having a beautiful December. I won't see you until after Christmas, I think. So have a wonderful holiday, and we will catch up next weekend. See you soon.